Hey everyone, Christopher Ruocchio here of Sun Eater, back with another monthly update video for you. This for June of 2024, and this is a little bit of a big update video. Got a couple things here that you will be happy to hear are on the way. But before we get to those, I wanted to let everyone know, in case you missed my video from the last month, Empire of Silence is back in hardcover from Dog Books. That's the purple cover with the Sam Weber art. The US edition is back in print in hardcover for the first time in 5 years. The book went unprinted hardcover way back in 2019, right around the time Howling Dark came out, and it has been unavailable except for used copies ever since. This is how we ended up with 3 different special editions. More on those in a moment. But the original edition, the normal edition, is back in stock, in print, wherever books are sold. I've got a link down to Amazon in the description down below. But more importantly, if you want to get a signed hardcover copy of Empire of Silence, you can, and you can, and you can. Everybody can. There are plenty of copies still available, and you can have a signed copy of the book if you go to quailridgebooks.com. That is my local independent bookstore, and fill out the comment section during checkout saying, hey, I would like Christopher to sign my copy of Empire of Silence, and include a couple notes as to how you would like the book personalized. Please do try to limit the personalization, just a couple words. Some people keep asking for paragraphs, and there's no real way to fit even a whole complete sentence on the title page without really ruining it for you. So try and keep those personalizations short, preferably just 2X, 2Y. That would be great. But you can order a signed copy right down at the link below. They will send me a message and say, hey, Christopher, come into the store. So as long as you don't mind waiting for me, you can have your copy signed. And remember, whether or not Howling Dark and the latter books in the series get reprinted in hardcover is dependent upon the success of this print run of Empire of Silence. This is, I think, the first time in Doll Books' 50-year history that they have brought a hardcover book back from the dead. They've done new editions of old books in hardcover, but they've never brought the same hardcover edition back from the dead before. So this is something of an experiment even for them, and we want to make sure it's a successful one. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who has already bought a copy of Empire of Silence, because that book actually debuted at number 30 on Barnes & Noble in all books, and that was with no lead up, no warning, no marketing push. We opened at number 30. Now, it only stayed there for a little while, but the fact that happened at all is amazing, and it is entirely down to each and every one of you. So a big thank you from me. I really, really appreciate it. I say it all the time, but I really do have the best readers in the world. So thank you, one and all. Now, to the news. Now, I mentioned earlier we have 3 special editions in the works. People know, of course, about the Diamond Edition. Steve Diamond and I did the Kickstarter last year. It's still in development due to all sorts of delays, which has been frankly agonizing. We also have special editions coming from Endorita Books over in the UK. More on both of those in a minute. The big news for this update video is, of course, the broken binding editions of the Sun Eater books. Now, the broken binding, of course, needs no introduction. They've been in the special edition game for some time now and are loved by many of you watching this video. And so they are doing not just Empire of Silence this year, but Howling Dark and Demon in White as well. They're doing the first 3 books in the Sun Eater series, and they are printing a bunch of them. They have an interest form for those books available now. It is a Google Doc, a Google Doc form. I have the link to that in the description as well. If you are interested in getting broken binding editions of the Sun Eater books, you want to grab the first 3 books this year, do consider filling out that interest form. I think they should need your name and your email, because not only will that give them a sense of how many to print, because I believe that there's some wiggle room in terms of how many copies they can print. So depending on the amount of interest, they may print even more. And so if you want to get revenge on me for killing your favorite characters, you can hurt me by forcing me to sign thousands of copies of 3 books at once. Thank you in advance for that. But in addition to that, I think by signing the interest form, you will also get something like early access to purchasing the books. Broken Binding has something of a subscription service they do. My understanding is that folks who are subscribed to the Broken Binding will get first crack at these books, but they will go on general sale afterwards as a really big project for Broken Binding, and they're not limiting it to their subscribers. But I think there's sort of a 3-tiered thing. I think it's subscribers get in first, and then people who fill out this form may get in second, and then everybody else can get in third. I think it's a couple days between each one. Don't have all the details on that yet, and I may be speaking out of school, but the first point at least remains true. If you want to help ensure that everybody who wants a Broken Binding edition of these books can get one, do fill out that interest form so that we have as much good data as possible. Now, these Broken Binding editions, I think each have 6 new pieces of art in them. There is a dust jacket, but the dust jacket is reversible, so there's art on both sides, in addition to which the physical boards of the books are printed with artwork, and there are 2 end papers, one in the front, one in the back, as well as art that is spread across the page edges of all the books. There's one piece that goes across all the page edges. So there is a substantial amount of new art in this book. There's also going to be a new introduction in each one written by me. But of course, my introductions are not just me talking about how great the book was or how much work it was writing the book. These are documents from the universe, from the point of view of characters in the universe, that help sort of broaden context about the books themselves. And for those of you confused by the transitions between the books, the time jumps, they help smooth those over, I think, a little bit as well. And so there's a little bit of new material in the books. But of course, the real showstopper is going to be the new art by Renee Eigner and Peng Lu. We're going to start showing those off in the weeks to come to help sort of lead into release for those. But do stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of Broken Binding news coming in the near future, and I cannot wait to share it all with you. But like I said, there are 3 special editions of the series currently in production. This was, as I said, sort of a stopgap back when we thought the normal hardcovers were never going to be reprinted, because that had been the line I was getting for years. Those other ones, of course, the Andorida edition and the Diamond edition, both should be talked about in brief. Andorida Books has done special editions of all of my novellas. They did The Lesser Devil and Other Stories, which combined that novella with all the stories in Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 1. They did Queen of Mid-Ashes and Other Stories, and The Dregs of Empire and Other Stories, and they are reprinting those. So they also have an interest form on their website. I will post that link in the description as well if you want to get in on the Andorida editions and get those reprints of those novellas with those short stories. This is the only way right now to get those short stories all together in print. You should sign up for their form in the link down below. They will also later this year be releasing The Murdered Sun, which is the original unfinished version, rough draft version of Empire of Silence. It's quite a different book. We thought that would be kind of a fun thing to do. So that will be coming out later this year. And once that is done, they will be releasing their edition of Empire of Silence, and then they will be working through the entire series. We are hard at work on that right now. That has a new cover by Kieran Yanner, who did the DAW covers here in the US. He's doing sort of expanded covers. There'll be full wraparounds for the Andorida Books versions, as well as at least 4 interior color illustrations for each book. So we're working on that right now. The Andorida edition also has revised, improved text. When I did the Diamond edition, more on those in a second, of Empire of Silence, I went through and edited the book to improve things. And that improved text, it's mostly just fixing typos and little continuity glitches, things like that. That will be in the Andorida edition and the Diamond edition, but not in the Broken Binding edition for reasons kind of complicated in terms of how each publisher sort of works to get their books printed. The Andorida edition will also have its own intro. It'll be different than the intro that's in the Broken Binding edition. Each version is going to have a different intro. And the Andorida Books version also has an original story in the back. It's called The Devil You Know. It is from the point of view of Polino. It is set during the events of Empire of Silence. And that will be along, like I said, probably early next year. We've been running a little bit slow. Kieran Yanner is a very busy man. He's a lot of work for Magic the Gathering, a lot of work for Wizards of the Coast. And so he's been slotting us into his schedule, and things have gotten slowed down on that front a little bit. This is a running theme with special editions. Things do not always shake out as planned, but that is going to be a gorgeous edition. If you do not get a Broken Binding edition, I would strongly urge you to consider the Andorida Books version. Now, the third special edition set that we have in production at the moment is, of course, the Diamond editions. Those are all sold out at the moment. We were limited to 1,000 copies. Those went in the Kickstarter last year, and the folks who have been backing it already know this, but I don't think it's come out in one of the updates on this channel yet. But those arrived at my house last month, and they arrived defective, which is one of the reasons that the monthly update last month was delayed. So they have to be reprinted. And we are currently waiting on an exact timetable for those reprints to happen. It'll probably be July and maybe a little bit into August. The good news is that we're also getting enough paper delivered to go ahead and print Howling Dark. So whenever that paper order gets in, we'll be ready to go on book 2, and we can really make up for lost time in getting these Diamond editions done. So if you already jumped on the Diamond edition train, if you're still with us, I am very, very sorry about the delays there. but we'll be moving a little bit faster here with volume 2. I actually should be getting the cover for Howling Dark's Diamond Edition from James Cook here this week. Probably by the time you've seen this video, I've seen the new cover, and I am very excited about it. We're also adding some more color art to the Diamond Editions to keep up with and to make up for the delays. So the Empire of Silence only had one end paper that was repeated on either side. There are going to be 2 end papers in the Diamond Edition of Howling Dark, and there will be an additional insert as well. So there will be 2 more pieces in full color than there were in Empire of Silence, and we'll be getting those developed over the course of the summer here, so that when the Howling Dark Diamond Edition goes on sale toward the end of the summer, most of the art should already be done. I'm going to start editing that very, very soon, the same way I edited the Diamond Edition of Empire of Silence, because, like I said, both the Diamond Editions and the Andorita Books editions will have slightly revised text, slightly cleaned up text. It wasn't possible to do that for the Broken Binding, in part because they're putting out 3 books so quickly, and in part because of the way that they work with my normal publisher over in the UK. So we are like 10 minutes into this video already, and I have not even talked about the big important thing, which of course is, how is book 7 going? How is book 7 doing? Is it okay? And the answer is yes, book 7 is doing just fine. Full disclosure, I have not worked on book 7 in about 3 weeks because I have all these other smaller projects sort of stacking up. And the reality is, not least of which because of the misprint situation with the Diamond Editions, is that I was not on top of my game, and I really needed to get some of these smaller projects dealt with and out the door in order to clear up room in my head. So I have changed gears for the back half of May, and probably for most of June, if not all of it. I'm going to be working on all of the things that I need to do to get these special editions out the door, to get other projects out the door, because there are, of course, other things I'm working on as well. We are working on revising Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 2, as well as producing Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 4. It turns out that I basically had enough stories already written, and they were really long stories too, to fill out a 4th Tales of the Sun Eater collection. I need to write 1 new story for it. I'm currently working on the new story for the Diamond Edition of Howling Dark. That's a Genon point of view story called Falling Angels. It's set during the whole Pharaohs thing that happens between books 1 and 2. Once that's done, I'll be moving on to the new story for Tales 4, and that will complete Tales 4. So all I'll need to do there is edit the stories going into Tales 4 alongside the revisions for Tales 2, so that I can get both of those out the door with new covers by James Cook. James is, as soon as he's done with the Diamond Edition Howling Dark cover, he's going to do the new cover for Tales of the Sun Eater 2. So that will be the next new thing that happens, is the updated version of that book. As with Tales 1, if you already own Tales of Sun Eater 2, your book will update automatically. You won't need to buy it again. There's not a second edition exactly. I'm just improving the book that already exists. I don't want you to have to buy it twice. So there'll be a new cover, and we'll go through and we'll make sure everything is reproof-read and the functionality of the ebook file is improved and all that stuff. So that will be sort of the next new thing that you all will be seeing, will be that. Later in the year, we are still planning on putting together a revised version of The Lesser Devil to bring it up to the standard of the new edition of Queen Amid Ashes. So it'll be available in hardcover and all that stuff. But John Barry Ballaran, who did the new Queen Amid Ashes cover, who did the cover of The Dregs of Empire, is currently doing the interior illustrations for the Howling Dark Diamond Edition. He took over for Taryn Fiddler, and John is busy on that. So once those are done, John will do the new cover for Lesser Devil, and that'll probably be the last thing we do this year will be that. But that's still on the to-do list. The text for that is already edited and cleaned up. So that's one less thing for me to do. But as you can tell, there are a ton of things going on at any given moment. My hope is that by the end of June here, all these little things will be cleared off my desk so that I will be able to return my full focus to Shadows Upon Time, which, like I said, is about half written. It's about 46% done. And we got to a really clean, really great stopping point in the story. And so I decided that what I was going to do was change gears, like I said. And so I've left Hadrian in a pretty easy to pick back up spot. So I'll return there hopefully around the end of June, early July. I'll know better by the next update. But we will be getting back there very, very soon. And the reality is that this is not going to delay the rollout of Book 7 really at all. We don't exactly have a date yet from the publisher. I'm still waiting on some stuff on the back end. More on that hopefully very soon. But nothing for you all to worry about. In fact, it will all be good news. And so once that is all done, once we have a date for book 7, it'll be far out enough that my taking a few weeks here to deal with all this stuff is not going to really impact it, because the reality is that I still write faster than publishers can develop books. So I wouldn't worry too much about any of that, my friends. Book 7 is a coming. I'm actually getting very close to getting back to Godothan itself. So we will get there very soon. And what a day that will be. Hey. So that about does it, as if that wasn't enough, for this episode. Tons of stuff going on. The important things for those of you who sat through this incredibly long, rambling update are, of course, those interest forms. Do please, if you're interested in either the Broken Binding or the Andorida editions of the Sun Eater books, fill out those interest forms at the links down in the description. And if you would like to pick up a hardcover copy of Empire of Silence, signed by me or not, the links for that are in the description down below. And a big thank you to each and every one of you. This year has become pretty crazy, and in the best ways, and it is all thanks to you all. Couldn't do it without you. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, Godspeed.